The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. The unexamined life is not worth living. I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make them think. There is only one good, knowledge, and one evil, ignorance. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. Wonder is the beginning of wisdom. Strong minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, weak minds discuss people. To find yourself, think for yourself. Education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. By all means marry. If you get a good wife, you'll become happy. If you get a bad one, you'll become a philosopher. He who is not contented with what he has, would not be contented with what he would like to have. Be slow to fall into friendship, but when you are in, continue firm and constant. Sometimes, you put walls up not to keep people out, but to see who cares enough to break them down. No man has the right to be an amateur in the matter of physical training. It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable. The secret of happiness, you see, is not found in seeking more, but in developing the capacity to enjoy less. Let him who would move the world first move himself. Contentment is natural wealth, luxury is artificial poverty. Death may be the greatest of all human blessings. Employ your time in improving yourself by other men's writings so that you shall come easily by what others have labored hard for. All earthly desires are but streams, but God is the ocean. God is the highest good of the reasonable creature. 1 hour with God infinitely exceeds all the pleasures and delights of this lower world. Our mission at Speechify is to ensure that reading is never a barrier to learning. The good Lord grant that false religion may cease, and true religion prevail through the earth. We ought not to limit God where he is not limited himself. Nothing grieves me so much as that I cannot live constantly to God's glory. All our good is more apparently from God because we are first naked and wholly without any good, and afterwards enriched with all good. Prayer is as natural an expression of faith as breathing is to life. When indeed it is in God we live, and move, and have our being, we cannot draw a breath without his help. Faith abases man and exalts God, it gives all the glory of redemption to God alone. Nature is God's greatest evangelist. Godliness is more easily feigned in words than in actions. Resolution 1 I will live for God. Resolution 2 if no one else does, I still will. How can you expect to dwell with God forever if you so neglect and forsake him here? Greatest concern is not for your health or temporal welfare, but for the good of your soul. The heart of the heart is, the more dead is it in sin, and the more unable to exert good affections and acts. Resolved, never to do anything which I should be afraid to do if it were the last hour of my life. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. A good decision is based on knowledge and not on numbers. Thinking, the talking of the soul with itself. There is no harm in repeating a good thing. Truth is the beginning of every good to the gods, and of every good to man. Knowledge without justice ought to be called cunning, rather than wisdom. Knowledge without justice ought to be called cunning, rather than wisdom. The first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself. To be conquered by yourself is of all things most shameful and vile. Wealth and poverty, one is the parent of luxury and indolence, and the other of meanness and viciousness, and both of discontent. An empty vessel makes the loudest sound, so they that have the least wit are the greatest babblers. Opinion is the medium between knowledge and ignorance. If a man neglects education, he walks lame to the end of his life. All men are by nature equal, made all of the same earth, by one workman. Books give a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything. The measure of a man is what he does with power. The direction in which education starts a man will determine his future in life. Opinion is the medium between knowledge and ignorance. Wise men speak because they have something to say, fools because they have to say something. Ideas are the source of all things. Knowledge becomes evil, if the aim be not virtuous. What man is happy? He who has a healthy body, a resourceful mind, and a docile nature. The most difficult thing in life is to know yourself. Nothing is more active than thought, for it travels over the universe, and nothing is stronger than necessity, for all must submit to it. Time is the wisest of all things that are, for it brings everything to light. Necessity is the strongest of things, for it rules everything. God is the most ancient of all things, for he had no birth. Hope is the only good that is common to all men, those who have nothing else possess hope still. The past is certain, the future obscure. Intellect is the swiftest of things, for it runs through everything. I did not become a father because I am fond of children. There are three attributes for which I am grateful to fortune: that I was born, first, human and not animal, second, man and not woman, and third, Greek and not barbarian. All things are from water and all things are resolved into water. We live not, in reality, on the summit of a solid earth but at the bottom of an ocean of air. One who is healthy in body, resourceful in soul and of a readily teachable nature.
When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. Some people don't like change, but you need to embrace change if the alternative is disaster. Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. Persistence is very important. You should not give up unless you are forced to give up. I think it's very important to have a feedback loop, where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. There's a tremendous bias against taking risks. Everyone is trying to optimize their ass covering. It's okay to have your eggs in one basket, as long as you control what happens to that basket. Brand is just a perception, and perception will match reality over time. Sometimes it will be ahead, other times it will be behind. But brand is simply a collective impression some have about a product. It is a mistake to hire huge numbers of people to get a complicated job done. Numbers will never compensate for talent in getting the right answer. Two people who don't know something are no better than one, will tend to slow down progress, and will make the task incredibly expensive. A company is a group organized to create a product or service, and it is only as good as its people and how excited they are about creating. I do want to recognize a ton of super talented people. I just happen to be the face of the companies. If you get up in the morning and think the future is going to be better, it is a bright day. Otherwise, it's not. The most beautiful experience we can have is the mysterious. It is the fundamental emotion that stands at the cradle of true art and true science. Life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. Whoever is careless with the truth in small matters cannot be trusted with important matters. There are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is as though everything is a miracle. But be in awe when he contemplates the mysteries of eternity, of life, of the marvelous structure of reality. It is enough if one tries merely to comprehend a little of this mystery each day. It would be possible to describe everything scientifically, but it would make no sense, it would be without meaning, as if you described a Beethoven symphony as a variation of wave pressure. The world is a dangerous place to live, not because of the people who are evil, but because of the people who don't do anything about it. What is right is not always popular, and what is popular is not always right. It is not that I'm so smart, but I stay with the questions much longer. The pursuit of truth and beauty is a sphere of activity in which we are permitted to remain children all our lives. Once you can accept the universe as matter expanding into nothing that is something, wearing stripes with plaid comes easy. I am enough of an artist to draw freely upon my imagination. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world.